Hi there. Well, we have another show for you. I'm sure you've been waiting for this. We thought this is fall planting season, and I would like to share a little bit about how to plant bulbs, what to look for, and then we'll give you live demonstrations in my garden, and I'll show you how I plant bulbs. Before I start, I'd like to tell you a little bit what you would need. You need garden gloves, a nice little trowel or shovel, and a little garden rake. And if you have one, and it's not necessary to get one, is a bulb planter. I have to I honestly tell you, and you can see it's all rusted. I don't use it. I like to dig. But if you want, because it gives you the measurements, the heights, the different heights for the different bulbs. It's right on the plant, on the bulb planter. So for little plants, 1 inch and up, I will tell you how deep you should dig for your plants and then plant them. So these are the tools, and just the garden gloves to kind of protect your hands. Another thing you would need, and I highly recommend that, is bulb food, and that's 5-10-5. It has pot ash and so on, and you mix that into the soil. Will give your bulbs a little bit more of a start, and they also last longer. Now with the tulip bulbs, unfortunately, year by year they get smaller and smaller, and with my experience, after 3 years you lose them. So what I do is I dig them out, throw them out, and plant new ones. You can find the bulbs in your local garden center, or you can order them through catalogs. There are numerous companies out there that like to sell bulbs for you. And I'll show you the different bulbs and talk a little bit about it. Let me sit down, and then we'll talk about the bulbs. We'll move these things around. There. I have planted my tulips in front already, but I have plenty left to do in the backyard and around the water garden. And I'll show you what I like to plant in the back. These are my favorites. And they're daffodils or jonquils, and look at the size of the bulbs. The nice things about daffodils is they will naturalize. That means they will multiply over the years. And I have them all over the garden, and I really enjoy them. And they're really doing well in Iowa weather. And they're early to mid-spring flowering. Look, when you buy bulbs, look, that's one important thing if you want to start a bulb garden, that you have an idea when they bloom, so that you will have blooms early in spring until later spring. So your garden kind of blooms and will ease you into the hotter weather. So these are jonquils or daffodils, and these you have to plant at least 3 inches. I usually go a little bit deeper than that. I usually would go, this is probably 4 inches deep. But when we go in the garden, I'll show you what to do. Then, and this is also one of my favorite, early snowdrops. And they are blooming. And sometimes they're coming, and they will come out when you still have snow on the ground. So you have very early blossom, and you can cut them and put them in little vases. Very small bulbs. These are also naturalizing or multiplying, so you have fun with these. Let's see what else I have. And then, of course, tulips. Let me open this. And they usually, you can buy them by the single bulb in some stores, but I ordered mine through a catalog, so they come in packages of 8 or 12. These are late blooming tulips, and they're called Baroness, and they're beautiful dark magenta, wonderful in your garden. Almost have like rose petals. Nice size of bulb. Another thing, when you go and purchase your bulbs, I have purchased my bulbs through this catalog companies for years and years, so I know what they sell me, and I like them very much. But you can also buy them in your local garden center and kind of look at the bulbs. They should be healthy and nice size. This is a good size for a tulip. Then something new I'm going to try this year. I haven't, or I should say this fall and for next spring. These are summer snowflakes. Something new on the market, and as you can see, they're starting to sprout, and they really need to be in the ground. Mid-spring flowering, and they say dainty white bells up to 1.5 inches wide. So that might be interesting and would look good in your flower beds. And mid-spring, and I would say mid-spring, maybe April. If we have a cool April, maybe last until May, and then you know what happens in May here in Iowa, it gets hot. So if we have a nice medium cool May, then you'll have your bulbs blooming forever. And this is an old standby, and one of my mother's favorite, the long-stemmed red tulips. Wonderful to cut. And I encourage you, when you start your bulb garden, to do bring them into your house. Cut them and put them in a vase, and you'll be amazed how long they will hold. Again, can you see, nice size bulb, and this should last us 3 years. What else do I have to show you? Another one that's a new variety this year, I understand. It's a white tulip. Oh, I said ivory white, so off-white with small purple edges. So this will be a very elegant blossom. Again, nice size of bulb. So these are the varieties that I would like to plant today. Or I'll show you once. I won't bore you with all of them. But then I also want to show you what is. With the daffodils, it's real easy to tell what's up and down. You see, this is the top where the leaves will come out, and then you have old dried up roots. With the tulips, still easy, I think, easy to tell. A little bit of a peak on top, and then you have a little indentation where the roots will be. It's very important when you plant to remember to put them in the ground like this, so the roots will be down and the top, this little peak, will be up, so when they start to grow, it'll be easy for them to come out of the earth and not have to go around. They will do that, but it will take a lot of energy out of the bulbs, and I don't think you'll have beautiful blossoms. The same with the little bulbs. Just take them in your finger and just really in your hands and really look at it. Again, a little bit of a flat surface, and that's usually the bottom of the bulb, and then it just kind of peaks up, and so. Also, planting, and that really is a preference of mine. And that doesn't mean you have to do that, but I like to plant my bulbs in clumps. So I usually put 5 bulbs together. So when they bloom, you have a kind of a mound of blossoms. And I put them very close together. Like in front of the house, I have a whole row of tulips that I plant in 5 bulb sections, very close together. Now remember, when they're done, you want to plant geraniums or one of your favorite annual there. So you really, if you don't remember, put little stakes in so you know where the bulbs are. They don't like to be disturbed. So leave a little bit room between your plantings where you can put underplantings in there. Also, a thing about can I cut the leaves or not? And you really shouldn't cut the leaves. Even if you use it as a bouquet in the house, leave some leaves there. They need the leaves to build up their strength. The sunlight they get through that goes back in the wall. It's like a little miracle. And if you cut it open, you can see it's just like an onion. You know, when you work with onions, that these rows, and they really need the leaves and the sunlight to grow and get ready for the next season. The same with daffodils. And I know they get kind of dangly and ugly. And so what I do is, when the blossoms are done, I cut off the blossoms, and then I braid the leaves and kind of tuck them under the other plantings that you have. Leave them there until they're all yellow and brown, and then you can discard them. But it's very important that you leave the leaves. So I think a little bit of information. I hope this was helpful to you. And when we come back, we'll dig a hole and plant some tulips. Well, thank you for coming back. Well, here we are, and this spot probably looks familiar to you. This is my water garden. Although I took all the water plants out, it's still pretty neat. I put netting on top of it, and I don't know if you can see that, but the leaves fall down and they fall on this net right here. And then every day I take the net off, or the leaves that fall in, and take them out. My fish have grown. They're this big now, and I have babies, fish babies. What is a thrill. I'm easy to be pleased, as you can see. But this has been really fun, and you probably noticed how much these plants have grown. I'm very pleased. I will take out the geraniums, and of course the asparagus fern. And then we'll see. We'll hope all goes well during the winter. I'll keep you up to date. But I thought it would be fun to have spring bulbs around the water garden. I have spring bulbs in all the flower beds. And so this is a new flower bed, and it needs to have some spring planting. Remember, I told you we mulched it really good. And we're really lucky. It rained yesterday, so the ground is really soft, and it'll be easy to work. What I'm going to do is, now, I'm just kind of moving the mulch, because we need that. And then I'm going to dig a hole. Easy said than done. Aha. I caught some plastic lining from the water garden, so I have to be careful about that. So I'm just taking out some soil. You know, and the amazing thing is, I already have worms in here, so that's a good sign. You want to have a lot of worms in your soil because they help irrigate your soil. So, we're going to come a little bit closer, and then you can see what I'm doing here. Can you see? Nice hole. I'm gonna loosen up the soil a little bit down here. There you go. And I'm gonna get some this bulb food. And that you also can get in your local garden center, or when you order it by mail, they'd be glad to sell it to you too. Smells like bone meal. And it has kind of granules in there. And so you take a little bit, dust your soil, take your little rake and kind of mix it in with the soil. And then comes the fun part. Make your bulbs. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And can you see how they stand up? So this will be what I call a clump of daffodils. And with years after years, they will spread. They'll probably spread here and here. So this would be nice, a nice background for the water garden. And you just fill them up again. And as you can see, I took off my gloves. I like to touch the earth. It's fun. So, then you cover it. And then later on, I take my garden hose. Oops, there's a little plant that we... and water it down. Give it a little drink. See? Nothing to it. Move the soil back. And then next year, hopefully when you come back and see me, I'll show you what happened to these wonderful bulbs. They're, like I said before, little miracles. And they bring early color into your garden. Little update on the water garden. I know I had several calls. People are very interested in it. And I took the water lilies out. I had to take the water lilies off the shelving and put them in the deepest point of the water garden. And I asked my sons to help me. And of course they were very, very busy and said they would not go into that thing. So one early Saturday morning, it was still pretty warm. I went in, and it actually, the water went up to here, and it was fun. It actually was fun. First I looked around if none of the neighbors were around because I thought they were saying I'm losing my mind. But anyway, I cut off all the leaves of the water lilies, and now they're resting in the middle of the water garden. And hopefully they will be doing all right over the winter. The fish are pretty close to the surface right now. Since the leaves are falling down, I suspect there are some bugs and little creatures on the leaves, and they fall in the water. So the fish come and just kind of scoop off the little bugs and flies off the water surface. And if you turn around there, Susan, that's my newest friend. He just moved into the neighborhood. And he's our black squirrel, and he seemed to be very happy here. So this is fun. Can you see him? We have a big oak tree in front of my neighbor's house, and I think he comes and get the acorns. And of course, we'll plant them everywhere. But he's a lot of fun. He or she, I don't know if it's a male or female. He's giving us a lot of entertainment. And he just recently moved in. Look how pretty he is. We haven't named him yet, so well, see, we got a little bit of a surprise, and I'm glad I could share that to you. Well, I think this will conclude this little segment again about gardening, and I have some things planned for you. Do you like plum cake? Do you like a special apple treat? I like to share those recipes with you, and our next 2 shows we'll go back in our kitchen and we'll bake again. How about that? I hope to see you then. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.